Good morning everyone. Today we're going to test out 4 products that are made right here in the Philippines. This is part of an ongoing video series I'm making. Because of this pandemic, it's more important than ever to buy local. So we have a raincoat which is made right here in the Philippines, and we have a cloth mask. We have one of these little gadgets. I'm not even sure what you call these, but the idea is when you want to use the elevator, you press it with this instead of touching it with your hand. When you want to press the buttons on the ATM, you go beep, beep, beep. So this is made right here in the Philippines. And then this one here, which is a door grabber. The idea is that you screw this into a wooden or metal door, and then instead of having a handle that people have to touch, it's actually got a grippy section here. You put your foot on there and then you pull the door open. So yes, made in the Philippines. You might hear behind me it's raining, it's thundering, and it's pretty noisy. That's one of the reasons why I chose this raincoat. And as you can see on the label there, made in the Philippines. Now they do have some other products that aren't made in the Philippines, so make sure when you order this online or when you buy it in SM or anywhere else they're being sold, look for the made in the Philippines. Now this raincoat I would consider as medium. It's not too thick and it's not too thin, it's somewhere in the middle. I have so many raincoats. I have really thin ones that are basically like a plastic bag, they're junk. I have really thick ones which are like a kind of a canvas or a tarpaulin. They are wonderful if there's a typhoon, but if you use them on a regular day, they're too hot. So that's why I chose this one here. It's somewhere in the middle, it's like a medium. Now they do sell thicker ones if you want something heavier duty, but for me this is perfect. Another thing I like is the way they've done the hood. What they've done is put a regular drawstring in there. Now this specific model that I bought is just a long raincoat. It doesn't have any pants included. But like I mentioned earlier, they have other models which have a thicker material. They have the same material with pants, without pants. They have a lot of different versions to consider. As for the seams, I've tried giving them a little tug and they seem pretty good, so no complaints. I mean, it's a pretty standard process. You just need to have the material, the machines, and then the skill. So I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm saying like there's not much to go wrong. They heat weld these together and you know, they're pretty tough, to be honest. So yeah, I'm quite happy with my new raincoat. It's nice to know it's made in the Philippines. Okay, on to the next items. Now, these were also made here in the Philippines, but these were given to me. Someone sent these to me and said, hey, can you pass this on to the MMDA? And they sent a few of these and said, just give them to enforcers or to people inside MMDA. So I've been testing this. I used it in an ATM. I tried it on a door, a couple of different doors actually. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, it's basically for prodding things, for pulling on door handles, for pressing buttons. It can also act as a bottle opener, but that doesn't really excite me too much, to be honest. So this is made of 3mm aluminium. This is made by local, what did they say? Metal fabrication shops. They also sent me photos, Filipinos making these, so I know they're made locally. These are actually quite common around the world, but they're often made in brass or copper because of their antimicrobial properties. But this specific one is made from 3mm aluminium. Now, while it's a proven fact that the copper and the brass have these certain special abilities, I don't know if they work fast enough to make a difference between having it made from aluminium or a different metal. So it's up to you, but these are being made from aluminium. I've tried it, took it to the ATM, pressed buttons. Can it work on a touchscreen? Yes, let me show you. As you can see, if I press random buttons, the cell phone reacts. Now, I wouldn't say it works very well on a touchscreen, but yes, it can do it. Now, why does that matter? Well, some ATMs now are actually touchscreen, whether it's capacitive or resistive, so you could potentially use this for that. Now, of course, you would disinfect this regularly with soap or alcohol or some other kind of disinfectant. Would I use this myself every day? Honestly, I'm not too sure. Maybe if you're working in an office and you have to open a lot of drawers and you have to take the elevator all the time, maybe you would use something like this. But for me, it's handy to have. Like, I would keep it in my bag, but I might not rush out to buy this immediately. But again, it's made here in the Philippines, so when you buy it, you're supporting Filipinos, you know, local production. So pretty cool, huh? They're selling this for, I think, 120 pesos. Okay, now onto the door grabber. This thing is pretty hefty. Like, I think this could actually survive a nuclear blast. I don't know what they made this from, but it feels like it will last more than a lifetime. Pretty simple idea, and I like it, but I think it's really for commercial properties. I couldn't imagine many people putting this on their home. Basically, you just put in 3 screws, and then instead of opening the door with your hand, where you have to touch a handle, you just put your shoe on here. I have a shoe. Put a shoe on here and then pull the door open. So of course, if it's a push door, I guess you would just push your foot against it, right? And this would guard your door from damage and scratches and things like that. So technically it could be a push or it could be a pull, but they made it grippy here. Let me see if I can get the camera to focus. Well, I'm not too sure how well you can see on camera, but the way they've cut this, it makes it very grippy. Again, I don't think this would necessarily be for many residential users, but for factories, offices, places like that, this could be nice, having some way to open the door without everyone touching the same handle. Again, made locally. They're using plasma cutters, they're using bending machines. They just sent me photos of them being painted, everything. So I know for sure these are being made locally. It's from NN Tools. I think they're relatively small, not very well known, but they're using local workers. So pretty cool idea, huh? I'll be handing this over to the MMDA like I mentioned. As for pricing, I think they said this is 440 pesos, which honestly seems reasonable because this is a pretty hefty chunk of metal and someone's obviously put a lot of work into making these, and the finish, it's really impressive. I've seen a lot of products being made locally, especially those foot pump alcohol dispensers. The finish on those is not always so great, but what they've done with this, someone has really put a lot of care and attention into this. They obviously care about the way their products look. I mean, at the end of the day, it's going to be installed at the bottom of the door and people are just going to be kicking it, but still, someone really tried to make this look good. Okay, onto our final product made in the Philippines. This comes from Southstar Drug and it's a cloth mask. I verified with them, is this made in the Philippines? They said yes. Now this cost me 50 pesos, and I know you can get similar masks online for a cheaper price, but I wanted to try it because it came from the pharmacy, which is very accessible to everyone because not everyone can order online. And aside from that, it's made in the Philippines, which is a big bonus because some people, like I mentioned earlier, they'll say our products are made in the Philippines, and then when you push them to prove it, they admit, oh, actually we're importing them from another country. At least with Southstar Drug, when they tell me it's made in the Philippines, I'm more likely to believe them because it's a reputable company. Now, when I was buying this, I saw it behind the counter and I thought, okay, that's cool. It's not until I got home I realized it even has a pocket. Now, in that pocket, you could put the PM 2.5 filter, or you could put some kind of tissue paper. So that can give you extra protection, especially from dust and general pollution. So I don't know why they don't put it on the packaging, but it actually has this section here. Let me grab a piece of tissue to show you. So for example, I have this tissue here, they call it kitchen towel, and I can actually slide that into the pocket here. And there you go, now it's inside. I can tidy up the mask, and then I could wear that and have extra protection from dust and general pollution. Remember, these cloth masks, they're better than no mask, but generally if you can get a surgical mask or an N95 or a KN95, they're probably going to serve you better. But cloth masks are still acceptable and they're better than no mask. And this is a 3-ply mask. You see we have the inside, then we have the middle layer, this white one here, and then you have the outer layer. Now, one thing we want to test is the water droplets and the candle test. They're not the be-all and end-all of masks, but it's worth doing the test. So on the outside of the mask, I'm going to put some drops of water and we're going to see if they pass through. I suspect they will because this is just a basic cloth mask, but let's test it. That's interesting. That's very interesting. Sorry, let me see if I can show you on camera. I'm not sure how well you can see that, but instead of the fabric absorbing the water, let me try and focus this, it actually beaded up. That's very interesting. So there might be some kind of hydrophobic property to this, because the water, yeah, interesting. I did not expect that. The water beaded up and it hasn't passed through to the middle layer. Now that's good, it's very good, but what we've seen in previous tests is that while masks were successful the first time we tested them, once we washed them they lost the hydrophobic properties. So we'll have to do this test again after washing it, but that's pretty good. That really impressed me, that surprised me, I wasn't expecting that. Now as for the fit, I would say it's a little bit small on me and I can feel it trying to ride down my face. Now I don't want to end up like one of those people that wears it like this or wears it like this. Okay, so this might not be suitable for everyone. It might be better for people with smaller faces. Yeah, no matter which way up I put it, I have the same issue that probably I need one that's just a little bit bigger. So let's go ahead and do the candle test. Seem to do quite well in the candle and the water test. We'll wash it and then test the water properties, hydrophobic properties again. Okay, I'm back. I hand washed this, soap and water. It's completely dry, and again we're going to test if the water stays outside or if it passes through. There you go. So just like the other masks that I reviewed, after washing it, what happens? You lose the hydrophobic properties, and well, you can't even see very well on camera anymore, but basically it just absorbed the water. It didn't repel it or prevent it from passing through like the last time. That's unfortunate, but it's pretty much the same in most, if not all, of the cloth masks that I've reviewed. So would I recommend this face mask? I'm not sure. It is better than some of the other fabric masks that I've tested in the past, and I do like this pocket in the middle where you can put your PM 2.5 filter or your tissue paper. The fit just isn't very good on my face. I feel like it can slide down a little bit too easily, even if I tighten up the straps. Now that just might be my face and my nose. Maybe on other people it would fit better. I think for 50 pesos it's pretty good, it's pretty reasonable, it's well made, it's got good stitching, like I can give that a good tug, it's not going to break, it looks smart, it's pretty cool, and it's nice to know that it's made locally. So for 50 pesos maybe try it out. Like I said earlier, if you can get a surgical mask, if you can get an N95 or a KN95, depending on your job, you know, are you someone that's just walking to the palenque, or are you a doctor, a nurse, are you a frontliner that's interacting with a lot of people? You have to consider your own options, okay? But this is, you know, something to consider. So there you go, 4 locally made products right here in the Philippines. Buy local, support local, especially during the pandemic. This will be an ongoing series here on my page. I'm going to find and share locally made products. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you have any suggestions about locally made products that I should review, let me know. Thanks for watching.